All right, everybody. Today's Linchpin conversation is basically how to get better pull ups and also a definition of what pull ups any style means when you see that as part of a Linchpin workout. So, first of all, let's be honest with each other. Pull ups are really tough. I'm talking about all versions of pull ups, but if we're just saying a strict pull up, that's a really difficult skill for a lot of people. And just getting one is a huge achievement, let alone doing multiple repetitions in a workout with a jacked heart rate, with some other one or two movements in there that's not making your life any easier. Pull ups are really hard, right? Get the baseline strength down, to learn to kip. You've got all kinds of things that you can do. So they're tough. We want more of them. And the goal of this video is to help you understand how to get more pull-ups. So hopefully this doesn't come off as glib when I say it, but you need to do pull-ups to get better at pull-ups. Okay, man, maybe that sounds simple. And there's obviously other things that you can do, from rows and other exercises that help strengthen musculature. But at the end of the day, if you find a way, an intelligent way to replicate the stimulus of the workout that matches your ability level, and you're doing some version of pull-ups that for you is appropriately challenging, you are on your way to pull-up success. And so let's talk about what that actually means, because I do believe everybody would benefit from having more strict pull-ups in their arsenal. So a lot of times, if there's a workout at Linchpin that has pull-ups in the regular workout of the day, and that's the version that everybody sees, let's call that the prescribed version, whatever nomenclature you're happy with. There's multiple other versions that we present as part of the private track. And for something like the wildcard option, it would probably have, let's say, if in the workout of the day, there's kipping chest to bar pull-ups. Well, in the regular workout or in the wildcard option, we'll probably say pull-ups any style. And what pull-ups any style means is exactly that. Anything that you want to do. Kipping chin over bar, kipping chest to bar, strict chin over bar, strict chest to bar pull-ups, weighted pull-ups, um, band assisted pull-ups, ring rows if you wanted to. You could do, rack pull-ups where you have a barbell firmly secured to a rack, then you're kind of under it in like an almost seated position, but your butt's not quite touching the floor. Your legs are out in front of you. You're doing pull-ups like that. By the way, you can also set up your rings at that appropriate height, that you can not only do ring rows, but you could have the rings above you. So you're not rowing them to your chest. You're literally pulling in the same direction that you would for a pull-up. You raise the rings up a bit. You're seated under them, legs kicked out in front. You're almost at an L, butt's just slightly off the ground. And you can do ring pull-ups like that using as much or as little leg assist as needed. All of those are your domain if the workout variation says pull-ups any style. And this is supposed to just educate the athlete to understand, okay, let's take a look at the regular workout of the day. There's upper body pulling in there. Pat gave me this option with the wildcard version of pull-ups any style. What's a good choice for me? So let's talk about what that could mean. I guess in its most basic sense is, as a general rule, and there might be some nuance here depending upon the athlete and their circumstances, but as a general rule, if you don't have some strict pull-ups, let's say 5, okay, strict dead hang pull-ups, then almost regardless of what the workout is, if it has upper body pulling in it, I would recommend you take that as an opportunity to improve your strict pull-up capacity in one way, shape, or form, no matter what it is. I think that's step number 1 for the majority of athletes, period, end of story. But let's take a couple examples, and hopefully it paints a picture as to what pull-ups any style actually means. So let's take a workout of the day like Fran. That's supposed to be just a burner, right? Fast and furious, short and sharp couplet, supposed to be high intensity, short time domain. And so 21-15-9, thrusters and pull-ups. But maybe if you're not quite there with your pull-ups yet, nothing's going to be fast about Fran at all, right? And so now you're like, oh, I'm missing the stimulus that day. What should I do? Again, you've got options. So depending upon how many pull-ups you had, maybe you've got that 5 strict pull-ups, right? But kippings, hit or miss. You get fatigued quickly since you don't have a big base of strict dead hang pull-ups. Even your kipping pull-ups go away because now you're cardiovascularly taxed as well. Plus you're doing thrusters, and now Fran's going to be this long slog, and that's not what's intended today. You could, of course, reduce repetitions and things like that, but I'm a huge fan of bands. I think bands are fantastic. And so an athlete like that had maybe 5 dead hang pull-ups but now has to face 45 what are supposed to be kipping chin over bar pull-ups in Fran, what are they to do? If you have a nice selection of bands, and that would be a great purchase for anybody if you can swing it with your budget, a nice selection of bands from a lot of help to a little help. Bands are your friend. Here's my phrase: bands are your friend. But most times in a workout, if you want to get better, you want to select a band that is not your friend. And so, what I mean by that is choose a band that gives you less help than you ideally would like, because you don't want the band doing all the work. You want to do the work. And so you want it to be a struggle because that's what your body does. If you want to get fit, fast, and strong, you have to stress your system and then allow some recovery, and then stress it and then allow some recovery, both in the actual workout itself and in your non-workout days. And so if you choose a band that's just going to make you an unbroken hero in the workout, and now you're on the leaderboard feeling good because you used this band that could send you into orbit and you did 21:59 unbroken, you didn't do yourself any favors. It didn't really improve. Of course, you weren't sitting on the couch. I get that. But all things considered, you did your strength and conditioning a disservice on that day. And you would be far better served to select a band, if we're keeping with the Fran example, that maybe you're going to be able to do that set of 21 in 3 sets of 7. Okay. And you're going to have to hop off and shake it out and take 15 to 30 seconds rest before you hop back up there for the next set of 7. And then hop off for 15 to 30 seconds before you can get back into the band to do another set of 7. And if you had that base of 5 dead hang pull-ups, then you could use the band. You could select a band that you could do kipping pull-ups if you wanted to, because you could do a kipping motion with the band, like a nice C kip with the band, and it could choose one that makes 3 difficult sets of 7 a really great thing. And that's totally cool. And then by the time you're in the 15s and the fatigue has set in, it's probably going to be 3 sets of 5. Perfect. Even if it's an 8 and a 7, great. I just don't want you unbroken. And even same thing with the 9. That's the kipping variant. There would be nothing wrong also if you chose a band that gave you maybe a bit more help. But the reason that you selected a band to give you a bit more help was you were still going to do 3 sets of 7 difficult pull-ups to get to that initial round of 21, but you chose to do them strict. So now you weren't going to kip. So that would probably mean you're going to choose a different band. And so now choose one that gives you a bit more help. But since you're not kipping anymore, you're going to do just your dead hang Fran, but you're going to use a band that does help you keep moving. And you did 3 difficult sets to get to the 21, 2 or 3 difficult sets to get to the 15, and 2 difficult sets, let's say, to finish off with the 9. Awesome. Victory. Fantastic. Absolutely perfect. Let's see. Oh, see here in the live comments. This is great. From Tony A. I started using this advice from Coach Pat. At first, I could do 3 strict pull-ups. Now I can do 11 strict pull-ups, and I've done sets of 3 strict weighted pull-ups at 55 pounds. That is awesome. That's what I'm talking about. With patience and again, the point of all these videos is just so that everybody can learn from all the knucklehead stuff that I did wrong for like 2 decades, and I wish that I knew years and years ago that would have put me on a better, more efficient path. Hopefully it just comes across in these videos and everyone gets further and faster than I did because you're learning from my mistakes. And so there is a way to do this. Let's go all the way to a very different workout, because I was talking about something like Fran, right? And of course, you could do Fran with ring rows also, which are so awesome because you can just scale on the fly based upon your fatigue level with where you're placing your feet, and it affects the angle of your body. You can scale like that. And since I said you can, get yourself in like an L seated position, and you're still pulling the rings like a pull-up in that same direction, not like a row to your chest. You can do ring pull-ups from a seated position with a foot assist and get exactly that same stimulus. And over the course of days, weeks, and months, you use less leg assist and more upper body, or you gradually start using a more challenging band, and then amazing things happen. Amazing things happen with smart decisions and with consistency, right? And understanding what you're doing and why you're doing it. And realize that a lot of times if you're doing something just to be an unbroken hero, I mean, I guess you get some bragging rights on social media, but you're shortchanging your long-term strength and conditioning. That would be my thing there. So let's look at a very different workout. As I record this, it's April 23rd, 2024. And today's Linchpin workout has strict pull-ups in it, which is what sparked this episode in my head. I'll read you the workout here. Let me open up my phone. Okay, today's workout's it's specifically not for time. It's 5 rounds, not for time, of a 400-meter run, 30-second plank hold per side. It's 30 seconds right side, 30 seconds left side, 20 box step-ups, weighted, and then 10 strict chest to bar pull-ups. So wow, not just strict pull-ups, as if those aren't challenging enough. Strict chest to bar pull-ups. Okay, wow, what would we do on a day like today? 5 sets of 10 strict chest to bar. Well, that's also why specifically I made today not for time, so that, you know, there's a physiology component of strength and conditioning, and then there's a human side of strength and conditioning and understanding the psychology of the athlete and how people get into their heads and what do you need to do with regards to programming and wording and messaging and community to keep people consistent and moving forward. And I've found great utility and value in not for time days. So on a day like today, it's going to be a great strength and conditioning session, and we're not going to worry about the clock. And so if somebody can do strict chest to bar pull-ups, but they're going to be 5 sets of 2, well, that's okay. They're just going to let the clock run. They're going to take the rest that they need without that weird pressure of the clock, and they're going to significantly improve their strength and conditioning today with their upper body pulling by doing a bunch of sets of 2s or 3s or whatever of those strict chest to bar pull-ups. And then they're going to get into running and midline and box step-ups. Fitness will be achieved. Trust me on that. But let's say that, as if a strict chest to bar is not challenging enough, a strict chin over bar is not challenging enough, a strict chest to bar really ups the ante. What should somebody do? Well, if you're like, okay, I'm not there yet, strict chest to bar is a little bit kind of out of my range, but I can do chin over bar. They're hard, and I'll have to break up 5 sets of 10. That's for darn sure. But I can do some strict chin over bar. Great. Mission accomplished. You replicated the stimulus, which was a very challenging upper body pull, which for somebody with significant pull-up capacity, strict chest to bar meets the mark. For you, where you are in your fitness journey, strict chin over bar is very taxing and difficult. Then that's exactly how you should do the workout. Who cares that it says strict chest to bar? You understood the intent of the workout. You understood where you are in your fitness journey. You understood your capacities, and you made the best decision to advance your fitness forward, and that's strict chin over bar pull-ups. Mission accomplished, huge home run, awesome, excellent strength and conditioning IQ. Okay, let's take a step back. You're like, all right, yeah, I do have some chin over bar pull-ups, but not 50. I don't care if you gave me all day. I'm not doing 50 of those. That's okay. Mix it up. Break out that band that, like I said, gives you less help than you want. And depending upon what works for you, maybe you do rounds 1 and 2 as strict chin over bar pull-ups, breaking it up as you need. And by the time you get to round 3, 4, and 5, you're fatigued, they kind of go away. You hop up in the pull-up bar, you get whatever you can get for strict chin over bar. Maybe you've got only 3 left and you're like, I'm dead. You break out the band that gives you just enough assistance to finish out that remaining 10 in 1 or 2 sets. And then in rounds 4, you either replicate that, or maybe you have to go right to that band that gives you just enough help to turn that set of 10 into 2 really difficult sets of 5. And you do the same thing in the final round. And now you've done a mix of dead hang strict pull-up and a mix of band work. That's awesome. And just in the notes section on BTWB, write down what you did and write down the decision that you made on each round. That way you can track your progress. And if this comes up again in the future, you'll know, well, you know what? I had to go to the band in round 3 last time. We did this workout 6 months ago. And today I got through round 3 without the band. I had to grab the band in round 4. That's progress. That's fantastic. So that's something that you can do. And if you're like, I don't have any strict dead hang pull-ups at all, let alone the chest to bars needed in today's workout, then we're all good. You again, think about what's a challenging upper body pull for you. Don't worry about doing strict chest to bar. Don't worry about doing strict chin over bar with no band. You're going to go right to the band. And like I said, bands are your friend, and select a band for the workout that is not your friend, that gives you less help than you want, because you want it to be a challenging upper body pull where you're doing the lion's share of the work. You have to break it up. The band's not getting a workout, you're getting a workout. Or you could do the seated rack pulls, or you could do a variation of the ring rows. All of those would be of the strict variety that offer some sort of assistance for the athlete, and they will all get you there with time, dedication, and just some perseverance, quite frankly. Let's see, what else did I want to think about? I think about these sessions every now and then. First of all, I think it's a shame somebody doesn't have exposure to not for time workouts, for time or not workouts, and things like that. Or if every workout that has pull ups is like a high intensity couplet with pull ups, because then people feel bad scaling. And that's a terrible thing to do. Or they overscale, right? Just to go fast. And they never allow themselves the time to do strict work, the time to take rest between sets, like because it's difficult. You're not going to make meaningful progress that way. Think about on a heavy day, right? If we're going to do a 5x5 back squat, why do we do a 5x5 back squat? Why not just one set of 25 reps, right? It's both 25 reps at the end, but they're very different, right? Anybody who's lifted knows that. And they both have value, by the way. But we're going to do the 5 sets of 5 instead of just one set of 25 reps. And we're going to take 2 to 4 minutes between each one of those sets, because we want the set of 5 to be really hard, actually quite so taxing that we can't just go into the next set of 5. We have to rest. We have to recover, and then we're going to do it again. And then we're going to rest, and then we're going to do it again. And then after that session, we go to bed that night and we wake up the next day stronger, fitter, faster. That's just how your muscles work. It's just not how your legs work. It's also how your upper body works as well. So think about this as like a strength day, a heavy day for pull-ups. You're going to make them difficult to the point where you can't do them unbroken. You're going to meet wherever you are, your level of difficulty, do a challenging set, then you got to rest for a bit. Then you can hop on the pull-up bar, do another challenging set. Then you got to rest for a bit. Now you won't be resting 2 to 4 minutes, but you get my general theme. That if you're always just selecting a band that you're an unbroken hero, you're going to do some sort of thing that doesn't tax you, you're not advancing your strength conditioning anywhere near as much as you could if you had a slightly different approach. So yeah, I think that's it. So hopefully that helps everybody. Pull-ups are really cool. I mean, I maybe am a glass half full guy, but I really think everybody can get themselves their first pull-up, and no matter how many you have, you can get some more. Variance is a wonderful thing. For time, not for time, weighted, strict, kipping, chest to bar, chin over, rack pulls, bent over rows, ring rows. I mean, all kinds of stuff that you can do. If you just take that darn pressure away as do I have to do the workout exactly how it says? No, you don't. What you have to do is understand why that workout was programmed today. What's the darn point of that workout? Where are you in your fitness journey? And what's the best decision for you and your ability level to replicate the stimulus that the programmer intended? And if you do that, the future is very bright. So that's it. Have a great day and enjoy getting better at pull-ups.